Free Enterprise fans, I am excited for another race. The opening into the round of 32 this week, our matchup is Locke versus McBain, and I am joined here tonight by Martin Broadcloak. Martin, how you doing?
I am fantastic and ready for more racing. This is going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Brackets are very interesting. You and I have been playing quite a few of them ourselves, and runners get thrown into all sorts of very interesting different situations, like just completely depending on the random starting kit that this flag set features, the two characters you get, the fact that you can't sell anything for money because it all sells for zero, and the T Pro, meaning that treasures, it's pretty hard to find really good loot in this flag set.
Yeah, you have to take kind of everything you know from Swiss and throw it out the window. Some things still apply, but like you said, not being able to money, like you cannot acquire money via selling off all the amazing loot you pick up. That just doesn't fly. So as most of you that may not have seen, you are going to start with an amount of money, and you still get money from killing enemies and things, but that's it. So you really kind of have to pick and choose of what you're going to buy. Are you going to buy your life potions? Are you going to save up and buy sirens? I mean, there's so many variables that now got turned on because of brackets. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes, because the playstyle is completely different.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point about money, with the money starting kit in this, you can start for anywhere between 20 to, I believe, 70 or 80,000 gold right off the bat. And in my practice, it's not been actually that important how much money you get, but if you can spike an early piece of gear from a shop that happens to have like even an elven bow sometimes, that can really be quite great. But aside from that, another thing kind of going on for these runners, we are at the opening round before the round of 32. This is sort of like a special cutoff kind of round to get to the round of 32. And it looks like we're going to start, but I do want to say very quickly that Locke is starting a game up against McBain because of the way the seeding is working here.
And it looks like we have a Rydia start along with the Quack Kid. I saw a lot of money. I saw 71,000 there, so the runners will be very happy with that.
And 2 shirts that you cannot sell that would sell for a whopping like metric ton of money.
Yeah, I know.
And the 2 ninja shirts.
So that could come in handy if you could find somebody who wield it. It could be useful, but yeah, no, like you said, to your point, because Locke obviously comes in with a better record, and the seeding is for McBain, this is win or go home. Which, as I was on commentary for McBain's last race, should be fine with it, considering we've been in this boat before. So I'm ready and waiting. Yeah,
and we see a divergence already in routing here. Locke heads into Baron, gonna spy the shop and the character at the Baron Inn. Meanwhile, McBain goes to my favorite place to loot on this flag set, which is Castle Eblin. The loot here is the quality of loot is very strong. There are the 3 trap chests that McBain is gonna have to dodge while trying to find something, really anything, to get this party going. But we'll see what he picks up. Full Moon, Black Shirt, Poison Axe, I think an archer bow. These are all pretty useful, but then finds the monster chest and is going to run back in.
Yeah, no, Eblin, based on the tier of loot and things you find, this is a great play to make early because of the fact we are on T Pro now. This is not the Wild West of, hey, I can find anything and everything in any random chest anywhere in the game. There are specific places that are much better for you than just going and walking around the world. Eblin is one of them. The Watery Pass would be another. So I'll be curious to see whether these runners hit up, both of those spots. Or do you end up being okay with what you find in Eblin? It's good questions. You just don't know.
Speaking of being okay with things that you find, McBain finding a dragon whip, one of the few things that Rydia can actually utilize well early game. Heading back to the right, there were a couple items here I think McBain is interested in picking back up. Meanwhile, Locke checked the Mist Cave, found the officer-soldier fight there, then went to Troya actually to look at the shops there, found life potions, which you do not, you start with life potions. You don't start with cure 2s or camping gear at the tents and cabins. So the shop check makes sense when you don't have a white mage. You're a little worried about the total health pool of your party members. There were also cure 3s in that shop, but didn't pick them up. Meanwhile, oh, Sylph picked up and a Gaia drum at Damstan. That is huge. This is a spot I've been avoiding a lot myself because the loot here is often just 0 GP.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
of the right, because the quality that could show up here. But that Sylph is going to get Rydia online. Very interesting.
Yeah. It's that's the great part about this game is because of just how much RNG is involved in here. I mean, we can sit there and say, hey, Evelyn's great, Watery Pass is great. Or you could just randomly spike a Sylph in a place that, you really have no business getting one, and just little things like that can completely break this game wide open, especially with a start like this. That's, you cannot even begin to describe how huge that is.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point, if you take the time to do some looting early, you're giving yourself more and more chances to find that a really good item. And Locke finding, I believe that was Baigan, taking a shower in the waterfall. We'll be pretty happy to not see that in the future. And Ashura and Cecil found on Mount Hobbs for McBain and soon for Locke as well.
Yeah, not only that, but also picking up a black sword in the chest right before the fight. So Cecil will actually be useful here up until ordeals. So that's a very welcome find. And it looks like
McBain is
setting up the double reflect. Yep. 2 star veils and away we go.
I appreciate
that, or we're going to be bouncing spells maybe
at the same time. Yeah, I'm thinking it's the double reflect.
Yeah.
You can lifelock Ashura here. It is kind of annoying and slow.
And given our current party composition, slow is an understatement.
Yeah, so you can lifelock Ashura in a way that her script runs through life 1, cure 4, cure 3. And on the face that McBain's is on now, this is the life 1 face. If Ashura tries to cast life 1, which does nothing, and then you attack Ashura, she'll stay on life 1, and then if she does a life 1 again, and you can kind of keep the script on that spell instead of letting her heal up. But the vanilla way of dealing with it is getting a wall onto her so that she just heals your party instead of herself.
Yep, exactly. And on Locke's side, obviously finding Sylph was fantastic. The problem is Sylph is 25 MP to actually use it. Because of the Sylph glitch, you still have to have the MP in order to use it. Rydia does not have the MP yet. She has 10. So it's going to be very important for Locke, possibly for McBain as well, but definitely for Locke to keep Rydia alive through this fight so that she can get enough levels to get Sylph online.
Yeah, definitely. Thankfully, and actually to it as a detriment for the moment, you really want levels on Palom and Rydia here, at least for Locke, to get one of them online. So if at least one of them stays up, it'll make the next check like Antlion go a lot smoother, a lot faster. Looks like McBain's having a good amount of trouble here. Only Palom is left alive. Meanwhile, Locke is in pretty good control here.
Oh, and
Ashura got a full heal.
And there's the reset. Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Locke gets through the fight with the 2 members he needed the experience on as well. In the Rydia and the Palom.
It's difficult to see that when you're fighting Asura when the Cure 4 does fire. Obviously, it doesn't hurt as much now because, hey, it's a low HP spot, but there's nothing worse than getting that, in a higher location and seeing that Cure 4 go off, and it's painful.
Yeah, the slightly like annoying thing about it too is that we found a runic axe, right? And Cecil can wear it, but he is he's the
But not
character at
yet.
this spot. Right.
Oh, Locke also finding Asura as well. Okay. So yeah, Locke has Rydia pretty well enabled, I would say, right now. So
Yeah, and finding one of our freebies in the Antlion Cave in the King and Queen of Eblan, they will go through their script. It's actually humorously kind of a problem. I shouldn't say humorously. This boss is normally not a problem at most locations, but the fires to do just enough damage that McBain might really be in trouble here. There are no, putting the Star Veil up is a very good idea here.
Yeah, because it's, like you said, it's 100 HP, and well, Rydia has 30 HP, and yeah, no, you will die. Because
but getting the Star Veil, yeah,
no, there you don't have Cure 2. So what are you going to do here? So this makes sense.
And McBain does absolutely the right thing. Puts up that Star Veil. Isn't quite caring as much about Rydia's either. I don't think McBain has the Sylph. He does have the Dragon Whip, but really the Palom I think is going to be better suited for his party anyways.
Oh yeah, that the black shirt change rod, combination on somebody with level 2 spells, that's you lean on that hard during the early game. That's going to get you through a lot of things. So.
Yeah, definitely. And McBain getting rewarded with a pass from Antlion, that is very nice to see. It is not progression, but this is one of those checks. Everyone does it. You get your pass and you move on.
Yep. It looks like Locke is actually taking the time to fully loot Antlion, getting some nice items. A rune ring out of here. That's, equipment-wise, Sylph and everything. Locke is setting up Rydia very well here to do some very amazing things.
Yeah, finding a Dragoon glove also, that may be relevant for the resistance it gives against, I believe it's dragons. Is it also mages? I forget.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Gaia hat also. That is best in slot hat for the old Quack Kid. So that's another mute knife, blizzard speed. We're finding a bunch of equipment here. Obviously, we can't sell it for anything, but you're going to hold on to it because you have no idea who you're going to find and what your party composition is going to be. So you can't get rid of it. Right,
and it's been a good variety of things too. So I think there are a lot of party members that we can find that will make good use. Even the Cecil especially, since we know we have that character. And even finding a Boreas, those tier 2 J items that cast, Ice 2, Lit 2, Fire 2 are also very useful for the overworld. So I think this Antlion, the loot here paid out really well for Locke.
Yeah.
Now McBain headed right back into Ashura with some of that experience on Palom. We've got a tier 2 spell now. Palom can reflect like an Ice 2 here. Yep. Should make the fight a lot easier.
So I guess while we have a second, we obviously have not called them out yet, but Smate D and Alchemy doing all the hard work behind the scenes, keeping the buttons safe from wild possums and restream duty. So make sure to say hi, go follow both of them, as well as my co-commentator Solaris. They're all amazing people. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about.
And we, of course, have to add you to that list, Martin. Thank you for being here today on this broadcast.
I admitted myself for... Wait, are we on S cabins? I'm just kidding.
That may honestly be a sigh of relief for Locke. It is very easy. The runners are so good at this level that it makes sense to be very aggressive and not check many of the shops. And I've often ended up on the lunar subterrane with no camping gear and like a Fusoya or something where it's like, oh gosh, I have to make every last drop of MP count.
You do learn to micromanage very well. It's like, hey, I could cast Nuke, or I could just cast Berserk on Cecil and save some MP in the process. It's a different mentality when you're sitting there. It's like, okay, I don't have Cure 2s. Great. What do I do? do I waste time going around shopping in an attempt to find them, or do I find a way to work around it? And that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, and McBain and Locke really, McBain catching up from that wipe here. The Ice 2 against that Ashura one-shot her. I think it was 1680 damage. And now they're both in this Fabul defense fight at the same time. Locke is getting out of it right now, but it's Bahamut. This is essentially free if we have enough damage, which both of these runners should. We'll see what Locke gets out of it.
Well,
finding a sand ruby, that could be a Fusoya.
It could also be an Ed.
Yep.
The game does not care. It will give you whatever it gives you, and so be it.
Yeah, and actually chat pointing out also, I missed this as well. Our two boss hunts here are Ashura and Elements, and this is an objective done for both of them because they both defeated Ashura.
I would say it's not terrible to get your early boss hunts out of the way. I mean, it probably will change some routing ideas, possibly in the future, knowing that, yeah, you have one of them down. But, you know, the standard rules apply. It's 4 out of 5 to get the crystal and go beat the game. So, well, that's not an Ed.
It's a punch mage.
It is. I hear that does qualify as a melee attacker. So come along for the ride. Let's go.
Yep, not currently, but give him some levels or a cat claw or a poison claw. Headband, any strength boosting gear, and he will definitely do work. And
with a poison claw to start, very nice.
And Locke already has a thunder claw. That is quite good for this Yang, able to take advantage of that thunder weakness against a good number of the bosses.
Yeah, headband. Yeah, so I mean, like you said, he takes levels to get going, but you know, giving him a couple items like that can make a world of difference even early on. So
yeah, and when you have a Yang, the pressure is slightly less off of you to find good gear for him. Again, with the T Wildish flag set, it sometimes can be quite difficult to find really that like end game weaponry you would love to have, like a defense sword or an Excalibur, though that is in the flag pool.
Yeah,
the key item pool that can show up.
And Locke is currently showing off, folks, that yes, you can clean your inventory, and yes, you get nothing for it. So basically,
there was that
passing gear over the counter and not getting anything for it. That's all we're doing. So
there was a meme photo I saw someone share the other day that was like a shopkeep being sold the crystal sword, and it's like, a crystal sword, you say? I'll give you 0 for it.
Yeah, like I've got plenty of those. They hold no value to me. Oh, okay. So we talk about, you know, deviation, but hey, guess what? We're both on ordeals. So
yep, we got a kid who can cast good spells. We got a Cecil who wants to get online as soon as possible.
Yep.
Time to go see what 3 bosses are here.
Yeah.
Boss number 1 is one of them that is weak to the Thunderclaw. Yep. I don't know that Yang will actually do that much here because of being base level. Also, Locke finding a dancing dagger, continuing to be rewarded for this kind of additional looting here, and a big bomb. Ordeals is a pretty good place to loot, right? Quality wise.
Yeah, Ordeals is not terrible. Also, you walk by. I mean, you're fairly close.
Right, it's
you're
right
not
there.
Exactly going out of your way for them. So yeah, you'll probably see a bit of that in brackets. So, but I mean, you know, a lot of people base it off personal preference. You know, it's like, hey, you find an amazing item at one spot, all of a sudden in your head, it's like, well, I need to grab this every time I play going forward. That's just how sometimes it pays off. Sometimes you find 0 GP.
Yeah, definitely. And kind of funny about finding Octomom here, since this is one of the like early game vanilla boss fights. It's actually weak to the darkness element, so Cecil's swinging for like 500 and 600 damage against this.
Yeah, that black sword just putting in work. Also, hey, look, it's Odin. I hear Odin doesn't like thunder.
I hear we have thunder available, actually, and also Thor Rage is in our starting kit to be able to deal with Kainatsu.
So, and apologies to dear old Yang in advance. Yes, we know you know, Thunder Claw, but unfortunately, Thor Rages might do a little bit more. So,
or just one single lit 2 from Palom, deleting this fight.
Yep.
McBain really made up the time here and is, you know, just slightly now in the lead, essentially, after having taken that wipe. Really well done.
Yeah, it's funny how you look at the two sides, and I mean, okay, so you had Eblin's loot on, you know, one side, you have Sylph on the other, and yet somehow you're still within, you know, keeping an eye on each other. So just different styles of loot, and you know, so sometimes things work out really well.
A rat tail for us here on Mount Ordeals. The man in the sky in the mirror room says, "Hey, have this piece of a rat. You're welcome."
You know, now that I think about it that way, that's actually, wow. Like, really, that's the best you could do.
And a pale dim in the mirror room. Gonna go down pretty quickly. It's pretty nice to see this here. It's not the rudest of bosses, but if you have to Zerk against it, it just casts slow over and over because that's its counter script.
Yep. Yeah, loves elemental anything, but hey, you know what? We've got virus, so it's been a pleasure. Good night.
Yep. Good night and see you later.
Yep.
And I want to talk about for just a little bit. We were talking about how McBain caught up to Locke, and somebody in chat asks, or they say, like, I'm not even sure how that happened. And it's so interesting to me, this game, because when runners are at this level, or at the same skill level in general, really small, like what seem really minute saves, like going to your menu one time less, or saving one time less, or equipping one less item, you add up those things over time, and they really do add up to a minute, a couple of minutes over a long period of time.
Oh yeah, and you look at, you know, the races we've had, not only throughout all of Swiss, but heck, let's just even go with brackets. Let's go with the first, you know, 2 races in brackets. 30 seconds can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, just little optimizations can, you know, make or break a run. I mean, ties are within 3 seconds. We've seen how many ties so far?
There's 2,
one,
right?
That's one menu.
Or 3? No,
that's
2.
one menu, or 2 menus.
Yeah.
So yeah, just, I mean, you're not wrong. The little things matter in this, and you know, you learn. Unfortunately, sometimes the hard way. If you lose by 30 seconds, you're like, you know, if I hadn't spent all that time in that menu that one time.
It certainly does sting when that happens, but then you also know that you were so close. It's an interesting one. The other thing, like the thing I'm observing personally at the moment in this race, is that I think McBain is, I don't know if I think his Palom has more of the gear, I want to say, that's making his spells hit a lot harder. And Locke is spending a little bit more time looting at the moment, which over the long run could really pay out for him, where, you know, you do the looting now. And yeah, you lose some time now, but then you don't do that looting later when McBain might do that. So, I mean, these 2 runners are, you know, at the same pace and position at this point.
Yep. And it looks like we have an old man sitting here in Baron Inn waiting for us. So, and not just any old man. This is now a fully online old man waiting for us. So, not surprising to see both these runners go after this one immediately.
Yep, and finding a Plague at the Baron in 1 spot. That is another boss that, actually, honestly, of the early game spots, this is maybe the one I'm most happy to see Plague. Plague, very early on in some of the locations like on Ordeals or Mount Hobbs, can be surprisingly rude because it's difficult to get through the fight. And now Dark Elf at the Baron in 2 spot. This actually could get quite rude. Dark Elf goes through a script that is all 3 tier elementals, tier 2 elementals. They don't do much damage, but he casts Piggy, and if he piggies the wrong mage, they won't be able to cast any spells. I highly doubt we have any heal potions. this could be trouble. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
If we deal enough damage, or if they deal enough damage, Dark Elf, yep, for McBain changes over to the Dark Dragon form. Piggy is no longer a concern. Yeah, we'll punch, and the punches are kind of hard here, but McBain and now Locke get through that without really too much concern. The one thing I also wasn't thinking about is that the spot is very slow, like the agility is very slow, and they don't have a very slow character in the middle, I think, relatively.
Yeah, obviously on McBain's side, having, Cecil in the middle, immediately that agility, I mean, you've got it pretty well covered. Palom on Locke's side has a few levels, so agility isn't, I mean, it's not like edge type agility, but it's functional. It works for the overworld. So, but speaking of overworld, hey, there's underworld. There's underground access.
Underground access is always a double-edged sword to me on this flag set, and Swiss. You get the hook, and you're happy to have the character, and guaranteed knowing that you could turn in a rat tail or a pink tail. In this case, we found the magma key. We have guaranteed easy access underground, but we don't get access to that character. And now in the back of our runner's mind is going to be this entire seed. Where is that hook? I have a rat tail. A pink tail is an objective.
Yeah. And, obviously we hope that the hook is... Well, okay, we're Team Free Enterprise here, so of course we want the hook in like the rudest spot possible. The runner's minds is like, could I just please have the hook? Like, just please, please don't let it be like Ogo Pogo or something just completely horrible. But yeah, I mean, hook obviously gets you a free character. I mean, you're looking underground right now, 24 minutes. You look at the Sand Ruby's turned in. You can't do anything with the rat tail. The pass is great, but it doesn't do anything. So you're going underground with you have Virus. On Locke's side, you have Sylph. But you go underground, you're like, all right, well, I have Sheila 1. I have the March. And I have Dwarf Castle. And 2 of those, I mean, one's free, but the other 2, with this party... Yeah, you might get into some complications. So I'd be curious to see, do you just go after Sheila 1? Do you just go after the freebie and maybe that points you in direction? Do you take a run at Dwarf without knowing what the second boss is and hope it's something you don't just get obliterated by? I mean, I don't know. That's why they're racing.
Well, I'm not sure myself yet, but McBain finding, I believe, a narcotics investigator for our job dwarf. So thank you for that, Chuck. Finding box wine and silk webs, both very useful, particularly the wine for our Cecil. One thing our runners are probably looking for here are coffins, hourglasses, sirens. Which are all available potentially in these shops. Siren, particularly, you can at least get the Palom up to Quake and then go to Dwarf Castle and feel a little bit more prepared for that fight.
Yeah, and because of our starting kit, you do start with 1 to 2 sirens. I believe they started with 2. So that's another one of those questions of, do I burn one on an egg and get, people some levels to Quack or whatever it may be in that point, or do I save it for gold dragons on the moon? I mean, it's one of those, you're juggling these all through your head while still trying to go fast.
Yeah, that is a very good point. We do start with those sirens, and Locke finding elixirs and now is heading into the Dwarf Castle fight, sees a sparkle at Calbrena. We'll see what this is. McBain, meanwhile, about to check the Sylph shop here and finds sirens.
Oh, hello.
Picks up 7 of them for his trouble. That's most of his money.
I was to say, why, yes, I would like to spend all my money right now. Thank you very much.
Yep. McBain finds his own Ashura. I do not believe he had it if he wants it for Rydia, though I think Rydia... Oh, and Wyvern.
Hi. How you doing?
All right, that Star Veil on Cecil should be enough.
Yeah.
Yep, Wyvern goes down.
So we have a Dr. Dialogue, and we have a flavor of Mylon sitting there on the left, so... Okay. All right, the good bosses to know. might be something we come back to later.
The doll is doing a vanilla switcheroo here, finding Fu. At Dwarf Castle. That's huge. Goodbye, old man. Hello, better old man.
Yeah. Wow.
And quite crucially, hello, a way to deal with all these dolls.
Yeah. Tell her we barely knew you. Take care, but bye-bye. Also, are we going to see Swag Rocks? I believe they just got queued up.
Yep, they got queued up.
Ah. I hear it's a very effective way to deal with dolls.
To rock their world.
Yeah, exactly. It's also a great time, put down the controller, maybe have yourself a drink, kick back, relax, contemplate the next move in the game.
I missed what happened to McBain there. He got into a siren fight and the dragon woke up from the egg. Had to run and then reset out of it. Thankfully, it's pretty quick to come back and do the second egg here.
I mean, sometimes you run into issues where like you kind of overestimate. I mean, eggs have 1800 HP. So it's like, oh, okay, I can kill this in one turn. If you don't, bad things are about to occur. So
I see Radio swings with Radio swung with the Dragon Whip, dealt 600 damage, and now Palin's Virus just not
short. Yeah.
We're short of killing it. This swing should do it though.
Okay.
Gets through, gets the experience. Even gets the old man on the floor.
Forgot the whip the first time around. That's why. So that's fair.
And I just missed that. Did you catch what the Dwarf Castle item was?
I'm waiting for the tracker to maybe see if they click something, but no, I did not.
Power shirt.
Chat's saying power shirt.
Thank you so much.
I like power shirts. I have a Cecil. I'm really enjoying a power shirt right now.
Are you saying you like playing with real ultimate power?
Absolutely.
Same.
And no, it doesn't corrupt me. So. Also a black belt there as well. So yeah, it looks like Okay, that's
Yeah, Locke putting on the black belt instead of the power shirt.
Yeah,
it might just be
the power shirt in inventory.
That might just be a mismenu, or like I saw the one but not the other, and now I'm out of the menu.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he'll correct that rather soon. Finding a dwarf axe.
Oh, that's big. That's big. Yeah, for anybody that remembers Swiss, hey, that starting kit. Hey, dwarf axe, strength ring, life is good. Not so much in this case. You can't back row cane. It's an easy back row weapon, but finding one, I don't know if you'd spend your 15 grand of your hard-earned money, assuming you even find one in a shop. So just tripping on one is a wonderful thing.
Right. My experience throughout the time I've been playing Free Enterprise is that dwarf axe is pretty hard to come by. So it is nice to see there. But with Dwarf Castle not paying out, Locke will see the two bosses here, may peek the Milan to see if it's Milan Z, and otherwise we're kind of like on Sheila 1, Feymarch, or Demist at the moment.
Yeah, kind of. I'm the game obviously not throwing you a lot to work with. Probably see.
We did get Fu.
Yeah,
we did get Fu from.
Fu's the thing.
Very important.
So.
Out of Dwarf Castle. Oh, the Mega Nuke coming out for McBain just before he can cue that Star Veil. We'll have to retry that fight. Probably go back to Wyvern Standard Time.
Yep.
Or may even leave and come back later. This is unfortunate for McBain. One of the main things about this flag set is the power level of Fu when you find him. And knowing that at any character check he could be out there running away from Dwarf Castle, it has consequences here.
Yeah.
If McBain does Sheila 1 and that gives, let's say, another chain for us to follow along, that is more and more time that's going to be spent without picking up that Fusoya, who already has nuke for Locke. So it makes sense to me to see an encounter and say like, oh, I don't want to deal with that right now.
All right.
I'll come back later when I'm better prepared. Or maybe like this is just going to be the thing I'm going to fade. But in this one instance, it may really not work out well for him.
No, and obviously, as we both have run many a bracket seeds, there are certain characters you just can't overstate enough just how important they are to a run. And we all know the power of Cecil and what he is capable of. Fu falls right in that line as well. And when you have a gated check where one of those characters, a Fu, a Edge, whatever, and you leave it behind, that always sticks in your head. Just in a little back corner, like, if this is a Fu, I'm in trouble. Hey, you get an early hook, but you never go check the character. And then you finally go check it and you find out there's a Fu there. And you're like, oh no, what have I done? So I think on McBain's side, that's probably like, I need to go back and do this because chances are it's going to be something I need.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. And I mean, mainly my point here is that Fusoya, well, yes, he does not need levels when you find him. It's the speed of having Nuke powers through battles so much faster. It's not even really just Nuke, but Nuke is kind of the primary one for this stage of the game. However, so Sheila 1 had the Adamant, so it was a terminal key item. This is going to funnel McBain back into the few checks that we have left, and the Fame Arch is less ideal than Dwarf Castle, so I think McBain is going to get sort of funneled back into that check very soon anyways, kind of regardless about what the mindset might have been there of like, do I skip it or not? So I think that's going to be good for McBain. Meanwhile, Locke looking for trap chests here in the lower Babel, presumably going to peek and take the top of Tower Boss.
It looks like
loot here could be quite good.
Going after eyeballs here. This is an interesting one. In Swiss, these had a pretty good propensity of dropping a tier 6, tier 7, something amazing. In brackets, not so much. And of course, right as I say that, here's Bahamut for you free of charge. Thanks game. Appreciate it.
That's a great pickup. Rydia,
that'll come in use. Just a little.
Yeah, that Rydia already essentially online with early on with the Sylph. But finding Bahamut is, an AoE nuke essentially for a lot of fights.
Yeah, I definitely see that probably leaned on quite a bit. Oh, and a light sword just sitting there.
Yeah, I love this. I love all the good things that Locke is finding here. It's really highlighting the sort of strategy that you can come with where, especially in this flag set, I've heard others say this differently. Yeah, that was a runic axe. Where you'll see like two primary strategies likely in this tournament. One is to loot almost nothing because your mindset is like all of it's kind of potentially bad anyways. The other is to loot a lot and really, hope to get paid out. And it is quite possible to get paid out with what you find and then leverage that, to put your foot on the gas and get through the seed much faster than your opponent, essentially, because they don't have that good loot that you found.
Yeah, exactly.
And Locke getting very rewarded here.
Yeah, it's funny seeing the disparity of, obviously McBain doing, Evelyn early and Locke just, kind of grabbing things as, he goes along. But, the quality of items he's been finding in places that, I mean, I hate to say it, you're going against the odds in opening some of these, and it's paying off. So,
yeah, going against the odds for some of them. For the lower Babel, the odds are not that bad. Actually, really any of the places that you go looting underground. And with the gang, with the Thunderclaw, it's a one-shot KO here. So this is the second. That was a Dragoon Shield from, I think that was the second trap chest. McBain, meanwhile, running all the way to the top. Or was it the third?
Third one. I believe there was one that was missed.
Okay, so we've got our other Mylon at the top of Lower Babel here. This is either Mylon and Friends
or Zed. This will answer a question for us. Because depending on who this is, we know who's sitting at Leviathan. And that can change things. And, well, this is not the one you wanted to see here. You wanted the other one.
That does mean Mylon Zed is at the Leviathan spot, at the punchiest spot in the game, or one of.
Yes. So yeah, once he gets through, talking to you for a few seconds, those punches are going to fly and they are going to hurt a lot.
The nice thing about Mylan Zed being there is that he is weak against both Holy and is it
Holy and Fire?
And Fire, thank you.
Yeah.
Holy and Fire, and his
Quake on it though. I hear that doesn't end well, but yes.
Yeah, he's technically flying because that was their way of giving him immunity to Quake. So Mylan Zed at Leviathan, while it is punchy, all he does there is punch. We have access to Blink with both either Tella or Fu, and Cecil can, with the right gear, get very defensive, and with even a light sword swinging and Zerked, could take that fight down pretty handily.
Yeah, cover stress on Cecil. I mean, everyone talks about Cecil's, once you get X-Cow, Crystal Sword, etc., so forth. Don't underestimate the power of cover strats with him. You get him some decent gear and he can stop almost everything in its tracks. So. Oh.
And Locke, solving his problems with dragons, gets a legend sword for his trouble. And very interesting. So that's an objective essentially gained. McBain will get his legend sword and then be able to turn that objective. Locke, once he does Sheila 1, will find that adamant and then also have that objective done. But that means we're looking at Feymarch, Demist.
Yep.
That's it.
Should we talk about the old man for a second? Because I feel like McBain is about to show us something.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so most of us understand that the old man gets really excited when you hand him the rock to make the X-Cal. Unfortunately, over the course of all of Swiss, we've been told that the old man did not like his bookshelf getting robbed all the time. Like literally everybody robbed his bookshelf. So the old man no longer gives you an X-Cal. He basically cheers and says, hey, thanks for the rock and all these wonderful things, and then decides to keep it. And by keep it, he probably throws it in a river somewhere and it ends up somewhere else in the seed. But yeah. So for everybody who's been so used to, oh great, I have Forge. Let me go get my free X-Cal and I'm gonna go make Cecil go burr. That's not the case anymore. So
nope. Instead, it is, here is my Forge. Kokol says, great, I'm going to keep it. Yeah. And then we get to look at a shop where we probably don't have money to buy any of the interesting tier 6 items.
That's the ultimate pay. It's like when I forget the shop flag, but when everything is like random and you go to that shop and you find like darkness arrows in the Forge shop. It feels like that when you go there and you're like, ooh, power shirt and all these things, and you look, you have 3,000 gold. And you have no way of getting more. And you're just, oh, really? Darn it. I really want that power shirt, though.
It's like, it's like going into a premium store when you're broke and just being like, well, I guess I'm just going to window shop.
Yeah.
Sad bard noises.
So, Locke getting the adamant, and we may be meeting up again here at the Forge here shortly.
McBain taking a trap chest in lower battle, getting rewarded with just an apple, can't even sell it for money. Nope. It is, I believe, a gold apple. I always get these backwards. I think the AU is a gold apple. That does give 100 hit points, which is not insignificant depending on the party member.
No, and you probably won't see that used immediately. My guess is you'd probably sit on it until Z, and maybe that 100 takes you out of range of, like, I don't know, a nerfed Big Bang. Maybe puts you above a 2400 threshold. Maybe it just, eases your mind on eating a Big Bang. I don't know. Personally, I just forget. I forget to use them. Usually they end, still in my inventory at the end of the game, but yeah.
I mean, so do I. And when you're going very, very fast, if you think you can deal with Z, I mean, you don't even, it would make a lot of sense to just not even use it. But, there are some cases where, like, you want to give Fusoya 100 more hit points to just kind of help guarantee he picks up because he's your only healer in the fight. But yeah, Locke turning his Forge in now, realizing, okay, well,
Yeah,
I guess it's the Fey March.
Thanks. Yay, it's an objective. Cool. And,
Probably not exactly what he wanted.
The shop
Coming back, I think
two
there were
very interesting items though.
I think this is
saw
Artemis
Moonveil
arrows,
and
right?
Artemis arrows.
Not picking the Artie arrows up. Might not have a bow. I'm not sure. And already has Dragon Whip on Ridio, so that ability to kill eggs quickly, somewhat already there.
Yeah, but now that Moonveil though, having one of those in the appropriate spot can do some very amazing things for. And I'm wondering if Locke is taking a fight here to get to 20,000 to buy a Moonveil.
That's very, very smart. The Moonveil will make.
So I'm gonna paint a picture here. This is gonna be a very nice picture. Here we go. You buy Moonveil. You go take a walk into the March. The March drains all your HP. You're down to 1 on everything. You heal Cecil. You get into a fight with a certain Mylon Z. Use the Moonveil on Cecil. Cecil's now in cover mode but can't take any damage, and now you're fair game to just run it right over. It sounds like
very heads up. You have taken me places, and the place is the one location we have to go. This is very heads up for Locke.
I mean, I know we're all personally hoping that it's like D.Mist sitting up at the Mega Sister location just to be trolly, and this doesn't pay off at all. But I mean, I
may have just recently run a seed where there was a required D-Mist.
We don't talk about that
at the Mega Sister spot. That may have happened to me. I also may have had in a race a required D-Mist on the Giant. At the element spot. That also may have happened.
Yep.
This seed and Rude D-Mists, or this flag set and Rude D-Mist like to follow me.
They seem to go hand in hand, so yeah, and we're seeing firsthand on McBain's side just how hard Mylon punches at this spot. So that was 2,100 to Yang and another 19 to Tella. So oops.
Yeah, queuing a Fire 3 from Tella, it's going to serve him a lot better to get the Tella up and to queue a Blink onto Cecil, get the healing onto him. And yeah, McBain doesn't make it through the fight, has to reset. Time to just, shake it off, retool your thinking, go back into that. We know it's the only thing that's left to do. One of those 2 fights, figure out a different way to handle it and go right through again.
And it looks like, Locke picked up that Moonveil, and I'm guessing we are soon to be at 1 HP in cover strat Cecil territory.
Oh.
Although I could say something about using a cabin prior to going in here, but I've done it before.
Well, that'll get us party members down to low hit points. Maybe not Fusoya unless you take some extra damage tiles. McBain checking the armor shop, hoping to spike something to help him through, and finds crystal armor, which would be amazing, but it's 68,000 gold, and McBain has 20,000.
Yeah. That math just don't add up.
Yeah, so McBain is leaving now. It's time to, I think, for McBain, maybe figure out a different way through that fight, and we'll see what he comes up with. These are both 2 very good runners to have made it into brackets. 2 of our top runners in this tournament. Yes, McBain going back to that Dwarf Castle. Yeah. Having faded it, go back to that Wyvern and get some revenge.
Yep.
Unfortunately, won't find... Right. Unfortunately, it won't be the progression, but it will be that Fu. Yep, and Locke heading straight to Mylon Z here.
Yep.
It's sort of like you're an oracle, Martin.
I mean, look, it's a solid strat here. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The maybe one slight annoyance here is that you cannot Zerk Cecil with that.
No. Yeah, matter of
with that
fact,
light sword.
and you saw that earlier when he was moving some of the plus damage equipment off Cecil. I don't know if he ended up putting it on Yang or anything, but yeah, I mean, Cecil right now is pretty much just going to sit there, and everybody else is. I can't. Okay, I'm guilty of casting Quake on Mylon Z too. So, oops.
It's not intuitively clear at all, but I promise you, chat, that Mylon Zed with his arms on the floor
Floating.
is levitating about a centimeter off the floor.
Yep, hovering.
He's hovering because that was their implementation, the dev's implementation of making sure he was immune to Quake, since he is the elemental fiend of Earth. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those one and done. It's like, okay, time. I won't do that again. Do something different.
Yep.
I have certainly done it myself.
So the great part about this strat, obviously, yeah, Cecil can't do anything, but Cecil does damage. Well, you know what? So does Bahamut and Nuke. So this spot may have, you know, well over 30,000 HP. It's not gonna stand up to this.
I do not get to play with Bahamut very often, but when I do, boy, do I love solving my problems with dragons.
You know, it's so rare. I mean, we all like, you know, Rydia because, well, you start with 4 agility and she's squishy and you can put her on the ground and it's a great anchor. But yeah, if you have Bahamut, sometimes that does retool your thinking a little bit there.
I particularly like it because just as a kid, Rydia was my favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that I leaned on a lot. I cast. So Locke finding Luca key here. This is progression, potentially. We don't know what
direction, at least. It's, yeah.
Right, we don't know what Luge holds, but Locke stepping out, not casting exit, so I'm guessing this is going to be a go and save and then come back, take on Luge, and then not have to come back here ever again.
Yeah, there's that mentality of, you know, obviously you pick your hill to die on, and, you know, in most of us that have run Seeds have seen, you know, the god-awful wall at Leviathan, or, you know, some other facsimile thereof where you're just like, I'm not doing this fight. No. If I lose to this fight, so be it. Dr. Dialogue at Asura is not one of those fights. You don't leave this one behind, and like you said, you do it, you never come back here ever again. So.
Yep, so Locke taking this fight right now. The nice thing about our friend Dr. Dialogue is it's split into essentially 4 forms, so the 30-ish thousand hit points that I hear are split into 4.
Yeah. Yeah, so at least for Locke's side, Bahamut will probably take care of this, maybe Bahamut plus Quake. And then next form will be a very quick Bahamut nuke, and yeah, this fight is done.
Yeah, and to go back just really briefly what I was saying about Rydia, I just, for whatever reason as a kid, when I played this game vanilla, she was my favorite character. I loved leaning on the summons. I just loved the idea of summoning in general and of black magic. And I remember being so frustrated in the Lunar Subterranean at the end of the game because I knew that Nuke was a spell and she wasn't getting it.
Yeah, because like, of her XP curve, and just like, when does she learn it? Correct answer is never.
Her experience growth in this game it's not good. There's no kind way to put it. It's not good.
Something to call out on McBain's side. Didn't need to, but it was kind of heads up thinking. Just taking some extra steps on the damage tiles to make sure that everybody was down in that critical HP territory for Cecil to do cover related things. So just a little heads up play like that can, you know, make a world of difference when you're playing the game. So.
Yep, without your characters that you want to cover in critical hit points, they could get punched once and then just fall on the ground, which is... It could lose the tempo of a fight very quickly if that's a character you're relying on to put up a blink or deal damage. Yep.
So, and McBain obviously getting that Moonveil from... It's wonderful when they're for sale. I tell you, Moonveils do some amazingly broken things in this game if they're used correctly, and you're seeing it right here. So yeah, now the question becomes, okay, so 37,000 HP here. You have to get through it with 2 casters, in all reality, and Cecil swinging on random occasions, but one of Fu's weaknesses is that limited MP pool. So trying to figure out how you're going to take care of that problem.
Locke and McBain both have cabins. Locke bought 10. I believe McBain bought 5 of them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In the, you were saying in the Z fight?
Oh, yeah. No, just on McBain's side. Just how, you come down here.
Oh, in this fight. I'm here now.
Yeah, you come down here, you don't use the cabin outside, so you're coming in with lower MP in the first place. Interesting idea on McBain's side, using the Lilith Rod to cast Psych. Unfortunately, does not do a lot to Mylon Z. You may see this next one possibly directed at Cecil and maybe steal his. I don't know if it goes through the wall, though, of a Moonveil.
Yeah, so what happened here is that Palom used the Lilith Rod against Cecil, or maybe it was a Psych, and it reflected onto Mylon Z.
Okay.
And then kind of insult to injury, not only did it only do 1, for whatever reason in this game, healing an undead will do damage to them. Trying to steal their MP will actually give them MP.
Yes.
So that's what happened. Meanwhile, Locke heading into Luca Cave. I didn't see the Luke reward.
It was a protect ring.
Okay, so useful of the pieces of gear that you can get. That one is pretty useful, and you're going to do it. Again, we don't have to come back now. Yep. Don't have to worry about that hanging in the back of either runner's mind.
And McBain through the fight, gonna get rewarded. Probably gonna stick around for Dr. Dialogue, I would say.
Yeah, like you said, you have the tools to deal with it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, it'll just nag you. It's like, it's not an impossible or an improbable or a time-consuming fight. Just get it done and out of the way. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and be like, was that my hook? Did I really just leave my hook behind? So. And of course, proving the commentary wrong, McBain immediately leaves. Thank you, McBain.
It's an interesting choice. I think it's defensible either way. We know it will work out for McBain in this case, and it could be a thought of, well, I feel I'm a bit behind. I took that wipe at Wyvern. I need to do something to make up the time. Locke finding an Earth Crystal in Luca Cave and our favorite Laughing Mage in a location that every spell cast here is probably an instant kill. Unless we have magic defense.
That's not a probably. You are going to die. It's going to hurt. Ow.
Does the protect ring protect against magic?
Not against the magic power in this spot. So
I mean, that's fair. This is one of the highest magic attack spots in the game. I believe it was to make sure that the counter of evil walls spell hit, either that or a lot of the bosses in this game, they were given really ridiculously high stats for a stat that they didn't use, either magic attack or physical attack.
Yeah, it's amazing things you learn playing this randomizer. Just fights that have no business, like example King Queen Evelyn on the hook route. Like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad, until you put a different enemy in that spot and you find out exactly what stats that spot has, and you're like, oh, oops. Well, I learned something. Well, you're going to have to work for that Earth Crystal a little bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, Yang took a virus before even an option to menu was given. That could be a slight agility situation. This is an incredibly fast spot as well.
Yep.
Very heads up to do the piggy play now. This game works with a status priority system, so it can inflict multiple statuses at once, and like the D-Lunars, for instance, do that with their breath attack. But if one status is inflicted on a character and then you try to inflict a different status, there's a priority system, and one can't override the other. Right. And with Piggy on the party, or Size, or Mute or Venom are two other options once you're in battle. The Paralyze from the Golbez's dragon won't be able to take effect, giving Locke just a little bit of time to put up a Star Veil kind of before the fight starts.
Yep.
And hopefully be able to be veiled up before those viruses come out and just one-shots everyone.
Yeah. And you see on McBain's side immediately resetting, knowing that, yes, there's no way, based on the speed and our current anchoring situation, there's no way you get through Golbez unless you set this up. So good recognition on McBain's part. Actually saved a bit of time there rather than sitting through everything. And, because, that's what, 30, 45 seconds you're saving, not waiting for your party to be killed. So
Golbez has a lot of time and dialogue to go through before he demolishes and then destroys your party. It is very, very smart for McBain to have done that. One very, very, very minor note. I like that Locke just casted Piggy against his entire party because the magic attack is so powerful here that your just Star Veil will deal enough damage at the spot. It only has 20,000 health or so, I believe. And to end the fight, you just need to cue in an attack because Golbez has more health than normal as a scripted fight. That's, I believe, just how they developed him. So when you hit him, he has a bit of dialogue and then leaves.
Yep.
So spending the time to mini and then Piggy is like a slight time loss, but the big time save was to just get out of the fight immediately and come back prepared. While Golbez dialogues his way through this fight for both of our runners, I do want to take a moment again to shout out our restream team. We have Smapedy here. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. No, I've heard of these individuals. I hear they put in hard work. I hear they're putting in hard work right now. But yes, Smapedy and Alchemy. Alchemy keeping the buttons safe. Now that I've heard there may be a possum somewhere in the general vicinity. And
well, the buttons do taste like chicken. I've been tempted to eat them myself.
I keep talking to people about possibly flavoring the buttons like they do like Nintendo Switch cartridges, but it's not getting any traction. So I'm that's still a work in progress.
Did you play Earthbound? Have you played that game?
I did.
Did you have when I was a kid? The original game came in a huge box and it came with the strategy guide. In the back of that, for what you're reminding me of is the the scratch and sniff at the back.
Yep.
That had like the bosses smelled like different things, and one of them was a mystery. And if you turned it in, I didn't do it, but I found out years later, you get like a scented car, like a thing to put in your car.
Yep.
But that's where you took me with that.
But yes, make sure you go follow, obviously, Smapedy and Alchemy and our wonderful Earthbound historian in Solaris.
And of course, Morton himself, a delightful broadcaster. Always a pleasure to be here with you. And our runners. Two very good runners of this game. Locke getting through that fight, and McBain also getting through.
Yay.
Well done to get through. A pretty rude spot. Might feel a little bad about it, but it's one of those bosses that you see and you're like, well, my opponent's going to die here too, probably. Probably. So
now,
it's kind of a wash.
You're going to see McBain pick up speed on right now. Bringing Tella back to life. Tella's sized. Well, spells still work. So we're going to see some alternate warping to get out of here. Meanwhile, Locke is actually walking out. So by the time this is all said and done, this very well might be tied coming out of here.
That's a good point. It could be a MP issue. Piggy, you can still as a black mage cast the Piggy spell, which Fusoya probably has, and then Fusoya could be doing the warping. So not quite sure what was going on there, but may have forgotten about it. Either way, gets through out of the sealed cave, and
making a beeline for Earth because, hey, what else are we going to do with ourselves, right?
Now, it'll be interesting to see if Locke raids the treasury. He has been preferring loot early and often.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the treasury.
Yeah, we're going to raid that treasury.
The question. When you're running T Pro, obviously the loot is a little bit different. There are no tier 7s in there, so that's out of play. Tier 6s, though, have about 10-11% chance of happening. So we may see something nice come out of here. Whether it's useful is, well, that's not tier 6. That was.
White Spear, Cursed Ring
is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, White Spear, which depending on the 2 party members we find at SOT, could be good.
That Cursed Ring is...
The Cursed Ring might be the best reward. Yeah. I don't think either of our runners are really running an anchor at this point.
No, we not that we've talked about it yet, but we talk about, anchors and, people, a good chunk of people will sit there and talk about the Cursed Ring being a crutch for people to kind of manipulate agility and things like that. Don't underestimate the power of, being able to use that Cursed Ring and keep all 5 of your party members up and running. So a lot of us, as we play the game and we talk about leaving Radia dead on the ground and running the game with 4 people, a Cursed Ring on a Foo with some plus stat equipment is still obscenely viable in terms of damage. And now you have a 5 agility anchor currently sitting in your middle slot, and your other 4 party members are all running at full power. So that can save time. So finding a Cursed Ring like that is just immense, especially with a Foo in your party. All of a sudden your mind shifts to the fact it's like, all right, Foo can be my anchor. Let's power up everybody and just turn them all loose. Rather than I have to leave somebody dead, or hey, I need to make sure Crystal Ring is on somebody or something along those lines. So
yeah, the way I like to think about it with the Cursed Ring and a nuke casting mage is that 1, nuke is almost always going to get hit hard anyways, and 2, if let's say one of them was wearing a Stardust Rod, which is plus 15 wisdom, and the Cursed Ring, which is minus 15 wisdom, that ends up being a wash. Yeah. So between the gear and the Cursed Ring, there's still a good amount of spell power available. Finding this is a Yang fighting Yang on Locke's side. That was kind of funny. But this is our Karate Man. This is a scripted fight.
Yep.
We may actually just get through this. We'll definitely get through this before we get to the point, but...
I was going to say, with this amount of power, no, you don't wait for the whole 2 swings and bonk with Cecil. Oh, no, you just right in the face and go away and goodbye.
Yeah, 9,000 hit points. Not a lot for this team at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the vanilla game, this is at Baron in 2, and Cecil... I'm actually not quite sure why they scripted it this way, but essentially after the second kick from Yang, whenever Paladin Cecil attacks Yang, he just says, ouch, and it's done.
Now for the moment, we all want to... Well, that's okay. I'll say it now for the moment, we all want to see... No, we didn't. Not that one.
Yep, that's a Porum. We'll see who the second character is.
Yep.
Even if these characters don't pay out well, it is still the only progression. So coming into Zot, we know is most likely required. I'm going to put that Demas to the far back of my mind.
I'm not
and
sure
an
that
Edward.
Improved.
No, likely not for either of our runners. I don't think they take either unless they want a dedicated anchor.
Should have found a Cursed Ring. Cannonball. I wish we had a choice. Like just stare at it. Like, absolutely cannonball's gonna fall. Nah, it's fine. Just let it fall. We're good.
Both absolutely have their utility in Porum and Edward, but
absolutely.
Kind of finding a, and then we find Dark Imps.
Yeah,
which is a free fight. They do not have the boss bit.
Yeah,
it is also 6,000 health split 3 ways. One Quake or Dragon will probably take care of this.
But to your point, yeah, Ed has his uses. Um, we've seen one of them already in Odin, so that's off the table. The wall obviously is another one, and he's obviously the only character that can solo Z at base level. So uses, but I think we're leaning more towards we're going to punch everything in the face really hard, and that's
right. Unfortunately for this party at this point, Edward not adding enough to our party to warrant taking him today.
No, and unfortunately in this flag set, because the spoon flag is now off, Ed can't even equip the spoon anymore. So it's not glass cannon Ed, it's, well, it's Ed. Hey, there's our hook.
The earth chains potentially continue.
Nice.
The hook is a great thing to find here. It is a chance to peek if wanted. The Rubicon boss spot could be the elements if you see the leg. So I'm not sure if we've seen rubies, so that has the same sprite, so it could be either. It's a chance to see 2 more guaranteed J items. I don't believe we've seen hourglasses or coffins, which I believe means that those both should be in Eblin. And maybe most importantly at the moment, we're able to turn in the rat tail, which needs to lead to another chain or a darkest crystal. And there it is, the Baron Key.
Item chain on item chain on item chain. Yeah, we've been there. We've had seeds that have had that happen. So
that's all right. It's progression. It is forward momentum, especially the Baron Key, because it's 2 key item chucks, one in the basement and one in the Baron pot.
All right. Also 2 bosses that we don't know about. Either one could be D.missed. It could happen.
Chat pointing out we're in the middle of a chain reaction. Well played.
I'll allow it. It's accurate. So let's see what's in the shop. 2 guaranteed tier 5. Well, that's 2 guaranteed tier 5 consumables right there.
Yep, the hourglasses and coffins that I thought would be there.
Yep.
Locke picked up, I think, 3 hourglasses. I don't think he picked up any coffins. I don't know if he has any in his inventory. I don't think we've seen the Baron guards or the... No, we saw the soldiers. I don't think we've seen the Baron guards. We've seen some of the other free fights, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, obviously, the dimps are now gone, so...
Yep.
Yeah, coffins, I mean, they have their uses, but once, certain free bosses are out of the pool, they're great for killing off a possible anchor, but we don't have that problem anymore with the cursed ring, so... Save your money and put it to better use somewhere else.
We have a momentary divergence here, though our runners may cross paths again. Locke choosing to check the character and the Eblin Cave shop, looting through, and is going to peek the character and the boss, finding another Edward, gonna exit right out. And CPU, that's good to know.
Yep.
CPU is there and not somewhere rude on the moon, which for CPU, rude means a long fight.
Yeah. I mean, we do have a Mediocaster in our party currently, though, so I mean, it's manageable to a point.
Yeah, yeah. If it's still at a 45,000 health spot, it's like.
Look, we ain't gotta talk about that part. That's what we call orb grinding. Yes,
that is true. But McBain heading straight into Baron, continuing this chain objective. Not objective, but continuing this chain of key items, finds the Magus Sisters that we knew were originally here and just says, see you later.
Yep, Rune Axe does wonderful things.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Get out of my house. Locke continuing to loot. He looted through Cave Eblin and is looting in Baron. Going back to what I was saying before, or what we were saying before about minute time saves, I do say it's sort of, there will come a point when the loot does stop being useful, and I'm thinking we might be getting there. Now there are still good things to pick up. That could be useful for Locke, but we can't sell them for money. And eventually the items are going to start clogging the inventory, where you have to get rid of them to be able to add in key items. So I think there could be consequences here for that, but we'll see how he continues to play it out. The two runners are still very close, like neck and neck. Locke coming in immediately now into a Baron Castle, and if McBain goes, and I imagine he will, to check the shop, the character and the boss, Cave Eblin, which he might not. It turns out in this seed you don't need to do that. They're still very close together here.
Looting is one of those things that's like, you know, we talk about only the runners.
I love my loot.
It's like, you know, where do I stop? When is enough? What, you know, to Locke's question is, okay, if I'm looking for a specific piece of equipment right now, what is it going to do for me right now? Like, what could I possibly spike to somehow improve what I've got going? And you look at the party composition right now and some of the items that we have and everything. Is there really a lot you can find that would possibly, you know, make this party better? I don't know. It's a good question. Right. I mean, based on knowing the tiers of loot and things, I personally would lean towards no. I feel like you have a Fu, you have a Bahamut, you have a Cecil. You're kind of off and running. Like, there's... Unless you're going to hit a random tier 7 somewhere, but those don't come out of just opening random chests. So,
right, and there could easily be something Locke is thinking of that we're not thinking of ourselves, and could be quite good to know. McBain finding both Kane, who we've taken. It makes sense to me. Kane has access to a white spear, and I think McBain doesn't have the black belt, but Cecil has a power shirt. Puts the curse ring on Kane for the moment, which makes sense. Kane is only base level. We'll be able to get some levels on Kane in the Moon with that darkness crystal that we found in the Baron pot.
Yeah. And obviously going to check Baron Basement. It's one of those you never want to be burned by it. Baron Basement is... had to happen too many times. Where it's just that one item, you remember it after you full clear the moon, and it's a terrible feeling. So at least go peek it, at least go see what's here. If it's doable, fan, oh boy.
Well, there's our evil wall. This is evil wall at many of the higher level locations is very annoying. I don't think this is the punchiest of spots. It is still gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's not.
But this
terrible.
is doable.
It's just the wall cheats.
It does. It gets in extra actions.
Yeah, it doesn't care about ATB or any of that. It's just going to go, and it's going to continue to go. And if you don't kill it, you're going to get crushed, and that's
Yeah, this is one of those checks. Even early, I will take it if I have a good anchoring situation. The spot is still quite fast, but there are a number of free bosses that could end up here, or sometimes it's just good to know what is here so that you can keep it in the back of your mind of what I need to come back to. But to your point, it's also good to do that and get it out of the way. One, not for efficiency's sake, but also two, for me, so I don't have the chance to forget it. There is a lot of information that these runners have to keep in their head, not even just through their trackers, but, you know, what bosses are where, what gear do I have to take care of the bosses that are in the locations, what gear do I have to take care of the bosses efficiently do I have? Efficiency is very important here with two very with two very good runners.
Have I killed D.Mist? Have I turned that in? You know, it's, you know, I'm one of those. I have a little sticky note on my monitor that reminds me to do certain things because, yeah, there is a lot of information thrown at you on this, and it's very easy to. It's very easy to just, you know, lose sight of one item and, you know, be like, hey, that D-Mist check. You ever get that Excal out there? Like, shut up. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah, in one of my last races, I forgot about the Ogo Pogo altar because it had a rude boss there, and so I faded it for a moment, and then I just left it. It turned out to not have anything, but it's still something. It added an extra variable in my mind. Yeah. McBain not liking what he saw, reset out. Time to go to the moon.
Turn down the package. Now, here's an interesting... I've timed this. It takes about 25 seconds to walk out of Baron from that basement. Here's why I don't agree with resetting out of that. That was key item number 10 for McBain. I walk it out.
It was the package, right?
Yeah, huh?
Also, slightly awkwardly, it's very unlikely, but that package could also be holding
Elements. I
demist
try
or
not
elements.
to, or demist. Yeah, I try not to assume that, but the fact that it
it's
gets
so
my
unlikely.
XP grind online, that's
I mean,
huge.
it's so unlikely. It's so unlikely that from that perspective, it's like, yeah, just leave it. If it really turns out to be that, we go back.
But yeah, for me, the XP side, it's like, okay, so if I go to the moon, it's like, all right, well, maybe I'll go look at Cave of Value, right? I have sirens, I have hourglasses, I have 10 key items, and I'm gonna spy whoever the boss is in Value. And oh, by the way, a siren here gets me double gold dragons. And with a life glitch, that's 180,000 experience. I can get my party online that quick.
Yeah, I think the other side is reset out, take the time save there, because it does take some time to walk that key item out. Go to the bottom of the moon, check the white spear altar, or check the top of the moon at the Murasame altar. Two fights that have less hit points that might be easier to deal with. Try to spike that 10th key item, especially one that you need, and then, take on the gold dragons or do more boss fights and try to get your experience that way. I think both feel pretty equal to me.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to have to do with how, like, what routing. I'm going to the moon. Fantastic. What my routing is going to be. When I get to the moon, do I go top down? Do I go bottom up? Do I mix, blend, whatever? And then based on that, yeah, where am I going to get my XP from?
And the top down versus bottom up question, it is an eternal one for free enterprise for sure.
Yep. Every time you think you're right, you're not. And every time you think you're playing by the numbers, it doesn't work out. So... But not saving after seeing the character, I'm going to say McBain's going to the bottom.
Yep, gonna make the play that I was thinking of that makes sense with the resetting out of that character or checking the top. Okay, so it's the Murasame altar.
I can be proven wrong completely, so.
Is it like the reverse commentator's curse? Like the, is there a word for that?
I don't know, probably.
Not a curse, but like they just do the thing you don't say.
Oh, okay.
Commentator's blessing. I'll take it.
To Rex's point, McBain does have 10 key items. I think there was one that maybe wasn't marked that I missed. That's
okay.
That's why. So,
finding DKC.
That's
who needs to get healing out.
Yep.
Over to Fusoya, queuing Cure 4. Another Dark Wave's going to come out, but Fusoya will stay alive.
We're fine.
Q4 comes out, and we're fine.
Yeah.
Third Dark Wave will happen. We might learn something about justice.
Broadcaster blessing. Scala, sure, I like it. We'll go with that.
Did you know justice is not the only right in this world?
I try not to listen to him, but yes.
You'll see. Someday.
Oh, the reward. Hi.
There's a pink tail for McBain.
That's a thing.
That is an objective.
Yeah.
It also could hold a crystal sword. I don't know if McBain goes to chase it now.
No.
Yep, gonna go
please
take a free cabin.
Again. Don't do it again.
Gonna take a free cabin. Pinktail is one of those things with a Cecil I want to check immediately. Not while I'm in the mood because it takes a bit too much time, but yeah. It's another objective. This is one elements fight or twin harp away from go mode for McBain.
Yeah.
And the moon is often a key point of divergence because of that eternal question. Do you go top up or bottom or start from the bottom?
Yeah.
If Locke chooses to go bottom up and the bottom doesn't have anything and the top is, this pink tail. I mean, it's going to be, I think the way it's going to play out because of the way the key items work, it's very likely that one thing is on the bottom of the moon and one thing, we found is up at the top, which might kind of even out which you go first, but it's still a point of divergence.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Locke's side, and okay, so in Locke's mind right now, I need, the twin harp, I need the pink tail, and I need to find elements. All right, so where's your best shot of multiple KIs and boss? It's going to be the ribbon room. So McBain, different decision because, hey, guess what? We, spiked a pink tail early, so now you're only on 1-1. So, do you face check bosses and try find elements and end the game that way? I don't know. But the ribbon room, because of that dual key item in there, is still huge. So I would not be surprised.
We'll see what he chooses to do.
Line for it. Yeah.
Meanwhile, McBain taking one of our grind options on the Lunar Subterranean floor 4, I believe, using a siren to find the 3 warlocks.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is cast spells unless one of them is standing alive, which Quake will make sure isn't really a thing because it'd kill them all at once. So McBain able to pop that mute bell so that the warlocks didn't get to cast any spells and essentially take a free encounter for a decent infusion of experience. Especially I imagine for that Kane who did want some of it.
Yeah, King got a little bit earlier from the DKC, but yeah, still needs a bit more.
And another interesting point about the routing at this point and the checks that could be done, there is an argument to be made to face check bosses.
Oh yeah.
The bosses left are the package boss, the twin heart boss, and the 2 on the giant, plus everything here on the moon. If you just run and check each of these locations and spike in elements, that's just your go mode right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, and the super cannon room. Thank you, chat. And the super cannon room.
Probably going to check these bottom 3 immediately and just reset if they're not elements. Unless it's a super freebie. Might be the only reason why. But I would definitely spy these 3 right out of the gate. And if I decide that, one of them is tolerable, I'll take a swing at it.
Yeah, the other mindset could be that I get 2 key items here and I want to see what they are and I'm going to get through this fight. And we find Valvalis.
Yeah, that's a reset.
That is an immediate reset.
No.
Val, of course, being
spots now.
Val, of course, being one of the ruder boss fights in this game in our randomizer because she casts weak constantly and she's very difficult to deal damage to. Yeah. Is essentially immune to magic in that spot, and physical attacks will not deal as much.
But the good part is we have a cane, so we can shut that down, but it's still time consuming.
It's time consuming, and she gets extra punches when you knock her out of her tornado form. So it's sort of like it.
Yeah, that's I'm not gonna say a last resort fight, but that's definitely up there in the let me go look at everything else first before I decide to throw myself with this one. So.
And McBain finding the full leg, not the quarter leg.
That is all leg right there.
All leg, all day. Meanwhile, Locke opting for the gold dragon grind option. You use the hourglasses to stop them, and then Fusoya can weak, which will take one of the King Ryus down to single-digit hit points. You attack it, you use the life glitch, which is essentially a way to get an extra kill count out of the encounter. You get your 3 King Ryus done pretty quickly and a good infusion of experience. Meanwhile, McBain finds an Excalibur. This is a key item that, because Kokol doesn't give it up, like you said, it's thrown in the river, and this time the river is
the river flow to the moon? I don't know.
Time is a social construct, and somehow that's relevant.
Sure, it ended up in a black hole somewhere. I don't know. It's there. Hooray. Cecil can do burr-related things now, so.
Yeah. Second strongest weapon in the game. Does a metric ton of damage.
Yes.
Good answer for that Val.
Well,
just in physical firepower.
Against that Val fight, yeah, it will do some work, but we have other things to go look at first.
yeah, taking the mindset of I don't want to deal with Val right now, and I'm in a boss hunt. Going to in vanilla, the last boss location of the game, though it is optional boss, in the Ogopogo spot, and finds our D.Mist. This is our bonus round. This is our, in this flag set, objective or boss that holds a key item.
Yep. Also that X-Cal. Great weapon. Unfortunately, D.Mist has different designs on it. So...
She resists Holy, which you might wonder, why does she do that? Well, in the vanilla game, sort of like the Octomom from way earlier, a way to make a boss weak to one element is to also make it resistant to another. So the Mist Dragon is weak to darkness, which is the element that DKC uses with his weapon, and is resistant to Holy, and actually heals from casting White or Meteo, funny enough, which is also a Holy spell.
I've heard stories about casting Meteo on D.Mist before. I don't know why.
It's one of those things, you do it once. I've definitely done it once, and it's like, oh.
And you never do it again.
That's how that works. Yep. And you never do it again.
Meteo is Holy element. What is this?
To answer chat, Pinktail was at the Murasame altar behind DKC. Now, D.Mist is sort of a blessing and a curse in one fight. D.Mist does give you room to breathe because as sort of the like ATB teaching boss, the first boss in the game, she goes into mist form where you can't hurt her, which gives you room to sort of breathe and heal up and whatever, but it also ends up meaning that you have to wait that out, and Berserk strats become very awkward against this. However, we've got mages. Won't really be too much of a trouble.
We also have some divergence happening because take a look at what Locke is doing to a dear old Val.
Taking on this fight, and it makes sense to me. Even though what we talked about, it is difficult, but if you know that you can get through it.
Yeah, if you look at the two side by side, Locke has more levels. So damage wise, this is going to go much faster for Locke.
Yeah, those gold dragons, the three of them, essentially with the life glitch, really paying out pretty huge, along with those 10 key items.
Yeah. Unfortunately, only a Stardust Rod for McBain, but D.Mist is now on the table, and hey, go turn Pinktail right there. Could be music sitting at D.Mist. It's possible. Is it enough to leave yet?
Leaving the moon is always a tough choice on this flag set.
It is.
We're one item, one boss from go mode. It becomes a lot more viable. We're not in the situation we often end up in this flag set, which is, I need how many things, and I'm on the moon now. Right. I guess I'm doing all of it.
Well, and here's the other thing. We haven't seen the Wyvern yet. We haven't seen who's at that altar. And I don't believe either runner has checked Cave of Value to see who's sitting there. So... It's a weird decision to make, especially when, God help us, if Wyvern is our gate to finishing the game. That's not a great reward, Locke. I am so sorry. Leaving without checking that and then having to walk down the LST again to check Wyvern later on, it's not pleasant. So...
Thankfully for Locke, McBain is also taking this fight. It makes sense. It's two key items, so it not paying out will sort of even out. Yeah. The last things on the moon left for us to really see are this. Not the White Spear altar. We already saw this. The Crystal Sword altar, and like you said, Cave Value.
Yep.
Those could both hold elements still.
Yeah. Or, elements could just be on the giant, which is, that's not a thought that's crossed our mind at all. I don't know what you're talking about.
It would potentially be vanilla.
Yeah, could be vanilla.
No, but for both our runners, that's the last thing they want to see. Though, thankfully, with D.Mist found, that if an Elements is on the Giant, it's not required anymore because our other way into Go mode is going to be in a key item chain somewhere.
Right.
Either from one of these two moon bosses, or the Demist gives the Pan, which gives the Tower Key, which gives the Twin Harp. That would be the longest way into Go mode, but it'll be out there now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dragoon and Runic Axe are the two rewards you probably don't want, especially for Locke, who I believe has both of those items already.
Yes. So, and to nobody's surprise, McBain walking out that anger to take a little stroll, go up to the Crystal Sword altar, reset, and yeah, let's go check another boss. Because yeah, that's a terrible reward for that.
Yep, and we're at a point where this is really all our runners could do. Early in the race, they got very funneled through very few key items, eventually finding a Luca key that led to, I believe, Earth, that led to that led to Baron, that led to Darkness?
Yeah.
It was a chain. It was a chain. We did everything. The Fey March is done. It's really just what's on the moon here and whatever chains come from it. And finding the D-Lunars, just kind of playing a little musical chairs here.
Yep, looks like we're gonna go power overwhelming on this. Usually, you tell people don't attack the Lunars because they throw up a wall and then virus starts flying and people die. When you have a sword swinging for 5k at a time in a spot that isn't really known for a ton of HP, you can kind of get away with this.
Not a ton of magic attack power either, it being the Wyvern spot in the vanilla game. Mega Nuke does a crap ton of damage. The magic attack spot here is not very strong, so that your vanilla party is supposed to actually be able to, survive a hit of it with enough levels. So yeah, the team sort of gets sacrificed to the fire gods, but Cecil just crashes his way through.
Yep. And reward?
Rewarded with a spoon. That ain't
not much of a reward. Yeah.
Nope.
Sad.
It would be a dart, the best dart in the game, but we don't have an edge.
Yeah, it could be a dart.
But an exit, we know there's nothing left on that moon.
Except for Valley.
In that location anyways.
Yep.
Heal up, go to Cave Value. Let's see what Bahama has for us. And
ladies and gentlemen, this is why you never sleep in the middle bed. It's like eating ribs with a white shirt.
I've done this before.
Supremely confident in your talents, never sleep in the middle bed.
I have absolutely done that before. The accidental walkover.
Yep.
And yeah, the unfortunate thing about the spoon on this flag set on brackets, unfortunately, our Spoony Bard cannot be unleashed. He cannot equip the spoon on this flag set.
Yeah. Which
would be an amazing attack item for him, but
I'm all for Glass Cannon Edward. I
am too.
It's just
I love Spoonward.
Without the spoon, his uses are obscenely limited. So, and McBain not even spying the boss. I'm just gonna go kill whatever's currently sitting here.
And here's a Leviathan.
So,
won't be too difficult.
No, not at all.
Circ up, nuke up.
Yep. Good part about this is known as more of a ridiculous physical spot. Well, Leviathan goes wave, ice 2, wave.
Yep. This is tied for second. Tied for highest attack power in the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say physical. What? Yeah, it's great to find a boss that doesn't do any physical at this spot. So. Looks like Locke getting his Stardust Rod there.
does hit the inventory boss. It is a nice moment to be able to just clear your inventory of the things that you've looted. So keeps the Stardust Rod. We'll walk that out. See where he goes next. Leviathan down for McBain.
Yep. Let's see what we get as a reward. Maybe a pan? Possibly a pan? That's not a pan. I already have one of those.
A white spear.
I don't need another one.
Yeah, a white spear would be great, but we have one.
And I can't even throw the thing because I don't have edge. Thanks.
The seed continuing to have a sense of humor.
Yeah, the inventory boss is creeping closer, one at a time. So.
However,
right, back to Earth.
Thankfully for our runners, not so much for us, I suppose, who love to wish rude things, let's be honest. Demas has been found, so Demas must hold some sort of progression.
I was gonna say, it's not wishing rude things on the runners. No, it's team-free enterprise. It's not that we want to curse the runners. We just want the game to win.
By wishing rude things on them.
That's like that fine print that nobody ever talks about. Yeah, it's a little asterisk.
I'm calling a spade a spade. We love our runners, but also, yeah.
Yeah.
And
hey, there's a pan.
McBain beelining for that pan turn in.
I mean,
still has to keep in the back of his mind. Right. Still has to keep in the back of his mind that pink tail does need to be turned in. We'll need to do that at some point. Hopefully when it's efficient along with the routing.
Yeah.
But we'll see what the pan rewards. It can reward an item right now, whacking Yang up whacking Yang up the head with a pan, or it could be at Sheila 2. Or both.
Possible.
So if this is a twin harp, I'm not going to Sheila. It's just go mode. Could happen.
Yeah, like you said, you already have the pass, so there's no reason for it. So. Yes, thank you for hitting this gentleman with
crystal hammer.
Get him out of my bed. And you take him home with you?
So Sheila 2 has the golds.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yang must be really made of some tough stuff to withstand. I'm just imagining it's a cast iron pan, personally.
It's cast iron. It's not one of those little stainless steel thin, fry pan. Oh no, this thing is like,
It makes a nice loud thwack twang thing when it's used. So there's our pink tail turn in.
Look, it's a white shirt.
That's a white shirt. I think that's the third white shirt from that pink tail turn-in I've seen in 2 days.
I was gonna say, if you asked runners, if you somehow put out a poll and said, what's the most common item you get from turning in the pink tail, I would not be surprised to see white shirt ranked #1.
It's a nice piece of loot. It's very useful at Soromis for surviving Big Bang, especially for Fusoya.
It's just
I'm pretty happy to see it.
You really want. When you go
it's not
there,
a crystal sword.
I need to X-Cal, I need a crystal sword, and they give you a white shirt. And you're just like, ugh, game.
All right, and there's our twin harp. Sheila 2 has go mode. The twin harp continues our chain with the tower key, but that doesn't matter. We're done.
Yep.
Go get some music. Thankfully for us, we get to experience the music naturally in this race. It would be really funny if Elements is the boss here, because that will create
what we call the filthy double. Yeah.
One, the filthy double, and also the 5 of 5. Yeah. I guess the like slightly nice thing is that if Elements is there, you don't have to actually complete. You don't have to get the key item. You can just walk.
Exactly.
You're like, I don't even want that. I'm good.
It's like, but why wouldn't you? It's like, because it saves you 10 seconds. Like, once you beat Elements, don't sit there and go through the little fanfare of, hey, touch Ray. Yeah, no, just go.
Meanwhile, Locke getting to the top of the moon will get rewarded with his pink tail, and McBain going in to get our music check and get into his go mode. And yes, while if Elements is here, don't turn in don't grab the key item here.
Yeah,
I've done this myself once. You have to actually get the key item to complete this objective of the twin harp. So that's like that's the opposite part. Like, definitely make sure you do that. Because I've definitely walked out without getting that and been like, where the heck is my crystal? Oh no.
Yeah, I saw somebody mention earlier the exact amount of races we've seen that have been under a minute difference. Yeah, don't waste your time. If this is Elements, you get out.
This is another neck and neck. McBain is at a pretty substantial lead at this point. Substantial enough that it may not be enough for Locke to catch up in the Z fight. Locke has to get the pan, run all the way to Sheila, then run all the way back. Yeah, get the pan, run all the way to Sylph, then to Sheila, and then get here into the twin harp. I think McBain is a good, like, couple of minutes ahead, I want to say.
But that's why we finished the game, because, hey, you know, one wipe to Z, and hey, guess what?
Yep.
And we're back to even.
Absolutely. But in the meanwhile, we're going to shut up.
Yeah, we're supposed to be quiet.
Yeah.
243
don't talk.
songs? It's a lot of music.
It's a lot.
Haven't heard
Mostly by Calamity, some by Xenocat and other community members. Yeah. Enjoy.
They're all great.
And that was Contest of Chairs, a musically adjacent song to one that we know and love from a certain series that may involve thrones.
I'm disappointed that wasn't Elements.
Well, doesn't matter to McBain. We got our crystal. Time to get the heck out of here and see whose butt. I'm just going to preempt it. Whose butt we're going to kick.
Yeah.
In a moment.
There's a butt. It's somewhere.
We're not there yet, though.
Strangely, it's behind a door. And you know what? Maybe this is how the X-Cow got to the moon. Maybe somehow they snuck it in through the past door.
Oh, so it got snuck through there and then...
Yeah, passed the guy a little bribe and been like, hey, can we throw this in the portal real quick? And just... And off it went.
And then once they got it, it's like, quick, where do we stash this?
Yeah. It's brilliant. Yeah, it's the Possumers. Yeah, it's just like TSA. Yes, just like that. What's in there? Nothing important. Okay, go ahead. Just a sword. It's fine.
I mean, hey, shops value it for 0 gold. It's fine. It's no big deal.
Yeah. It intrinsically has 0 value. Don't worry about it.
All right, what is today's Z flag?
That's a good question. There are 527 of them.
I think 27 now,
very
yeah.
Terrifying. It involves a newspaper. The other one's not so much.
Yeah, 2 newer birthday sprites.
Mm-hmm.
One for Scala and one for Calamity. Both amazing. If you're interested in those, there are previous VODs. One a tournament match for sure, where you can kind of see them in action.
Yep.
But Martin, would you like to do the honors?
But you already did the honors. There's a butt. It's right there. I think we're supposed to kick it. That's the societally acceptable action for it.
Oh yeah, butt kicking happens now.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I mean, obviously, well, yeah, we are all wondering whose butt. Personally, I wonder if it has a butt. It might not.
And how the butt is? Is it feeling okay? Has it had an okay day?
Yeah.
Has it had troubles?
Have you ever seen a butt on a Monday before? I mean, it's, it could, might not be pretty. I don't know.
Sometimes you say Monday is a butt, but maybe the butt is Monday. Maybe it's Monday
nest.
nest.
How does the butt feel on Monday, right? Yeah.
But no, seriously, this is Zeromus. We don't randomize him. We don't move him to a new location. That would be quite rude, having a Big Bang at the Baron Inn. So instead, we randomize his sprite, and we have a mimic.
You didn't have a butt.
I'm gonna call this cute.
Also, those things are absolutely terrifying.
The mimics in every game that they are in are
yeah.
It's
like, oh, it's a treasure
terrifying.
chest. How cute! And then it casts like defeat on you, and your entire party dies. You're like, that's not nice.
Yes, and the most insulting thing on this flag set, the most insulting thing on this flag set is that once you kill it and you open up its contents, it's 0 GP.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
Cribbing that right from Scala there in our chat, because oh my god, that's so true.
Oh, I think we get music one more time. More chairs.
So Locke will get his go mode here. Meanwhile, McBain is well into the Z fight. This one's pretty simple. Circle up your party members. Fusoya does need to make sure he lives through any errant Big Bangs that could knock him down. We do like to talk about a certain combo platter that can be problematic depending on how much damage your Zerkers are dealing, where a second Big Bang happens and then the Meteor, which is the last phase, rocks happen immediately afterwards, and just sort of combo platter wipes your party out. Yeah, we'll see what he goes through here.
Yeah, say for those that don't know, usually when you're counting damage, it's that 8,000 to 9,000 HP per turn threshold. So once all 5 of your characters go and you see that number, it's usually closer to the 8 side than it is the 9. But yeah, you'll see a second Big Bang and go right into rocks, and if you're not ready for it, you're dead. The damage output I'm seeing right now is right about 10.5, so I think we are well outside that realm, so we should be okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. And just to explain briefly for chat, actually we see rocks already. Everyone's super healthy. Martin, you had it right. McBain is surely to get through.
And that's
there's the crack. There's the crack, there's the flash. GG's to McBain, our winner tonight, winning with a time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 15 seconds. And crucially, winning in a situation where it was, if lost, he was out. So this gets him into a game 2.
Yeah.
Very well done by McBain.
Technically, it's more like a game 3. We just didn't exactly have game 1. Actually, it's a lie. We had a game 1, none of y'all saw it. I hear it was a great game, but Locke ended up winning game 1. Just saying
that. And meanwhile, we are joined here by McBain. GG's, McBain.
GG's?
Yeah, GG. Well played.
So walk us through how you were feeling just sort of throughout the seed.
It started weird because of that wipe on Ashura. That felt really bad. And then having to use a star valve to in an ant lion, and I knew I had to use 2 for Ashura, and then I would only have 1 for Goldbase and Wyvern, which I actually had a problem with that too.
Yeah, it certainly was tricky. You did get through the Ashura very quickly at the second time through, which I think helped you out quite a bit with that Palom getting that nice reflect off. But yeah, you know, having gone through a couple of those kind of wipes like that, you know, did it change your routing at all or your decision making going through the rest of the seed?
Not really, because we didn't really have a choice. I mean, we were gonna either go to Frame March early, which was meh, and then there was no other choice. Maybe Dr. Luge had something, but Frame March doesn't really have much usually, so once you get something there, there's no real point in staying there, I think.
So now you are 1-1 against Locke here. Not quite out of it yet. What is, having gone through the run once, what are you thinking about for your second matchup against Locke?
I'm thinking he probably has to think about risking something. I mean, when you're up 1-0, you don't really have the need to risk something. You just play your game because you're not out if you lose. There's no, you don't take risks. But now 1-1, maybe he's gonna want to take a risk here and there, and maybe that's gonna cost him, or maybe it's gonna help him. But who knows?
So I'll ask the question then. Obviously, you know, with Locke possibly taking a risk at 1-on-1, what about you? What's your plan going into game 3?
Oh, I don't have problem taking risks.
I love it.
I like risks, but I need to have a good feeling about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say
no stupid risks.
Yeah, not that it was a risk, but that doing that early Evelyn looting though helped out quite a bit as far as the items you caught. So when you obviously you were rewarded for it, did that change your ideas on like routing the rest as far as, hey, I'm gonna not loot Watery Pass, or I'm just gonna start skipping things? Well, when you got those items out of Evelyn, what was kind of your plan going forward?
Yeah, it was basically, I got everything I basically need, I would say. It's not the best, but I could find something else, but there's so much 0 gold chests on the overworld. When you find a couple of good stuff in Evelyn, I'm just, I don't really care about the rest.
It's a good
at least on the overworld.
Yeah, I would say it served you well. Obviously, you came out of this one with a win, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you in round 3. Also, as I was on comms for your last race, thank you for not making it a tie this time.
Yeah,
that takes a lot out of you.
Also, I didn't forget to check Demas this time either.
You know, I wasn't gonna go there, but yeah. But yeah, GG's once again. So very well played race.
Thank you.
You played a hell of a race. Any last words you'd like to say, McBain, before we let you go?
No, not really. I'm looking forward for my next game. I'm really excited.
Yeah, awesome. I also very much look forward to seeing it. And yeah, thanks for putting on a good show. Good luck in your third one, and catch you later.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yep, take care. It looks like in the meantime, Locke is finished as well with a time of 1:54.21. So GG's to Locke on that finish.
Yep, and we're joined here now by Locke. GG's, Locke.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, Locke.
GG's.
GG.
That was something else.
That was the seed.
I wasn't expecting it to be so linear, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah, it was extraordinarily linear. It was like, here's the few key items on the route underground, and the Fey March and etc. Like, how are you feeling about that as it was sort of quickly dawning on you that that's how the seed was playing out?
I hated it because I wanted to check different things to try to like go somewhere different, but then we're just locked in one path. Like nowhere to really escape from that path until we got to the moon.
That is a good question though about the moon. Tell us what you were thinking about there. That's what I was thinking as well, that's like the first point of major divergence. Of course, at the time we got to the moon, it was like, well, it kind of has to be up here, but what was your mindset there with like grinds or top down versus bottom up, that kind of stuff?
Well, because I picked up both a cane and a Rosa, I knew I needed to do some kind of grind. So I wanted to run down, pop a couple sirens, get some experience on both of them. So I wanted to start at the bottom up. After the D-miss, I was contemplating just leaving, but I'm like, just in case this last boss has a item I need here, I need to go back in. Which it did, so I'm glad I went back in to have everyone get killed off by D-net, or Pain Man, basically, so.
Yeah, I hear he likes to do that.
Yeah.
So now you are down a game, unfortunately, but still in it. There's a round 3 to happen. How does this change your mindset, or does it, going into the final round against McBain?
It doesn't really change the mindset in a sense because, again, I was actively trying to do different things, but the game wouldn't let me. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to actually do different things.
Just a question for you about the not just the seed overall, but obviously this is the first quote unquote bracket race, and I'm obviously assuming you've been running them before. How much different is it for you playing brackets instead of Swiss as far as like what you normally do, and did we see any of that?
I want my gold back. I want my gold back.
Yep, same.
I'm sure you guys saw the 2 random encounters I tried to grab for the moon veil because I'm like, I need 1,000 gold. Like, come on.
That was actually real. I had actually called that out, thinking, all right, he turned on encounters. This is going to be exactly why, and it paid off.
It did.
Yeah,
it was brilliant.
Yeah. So, but yeah, hopefully the next seed gives you some opportunity to not just go straight downhill in one direction repeatedly, but that's why we play the game, right?
Pretty much.
So any last thoughts there, Solaris?
No, that's it for me.
No. Locke, you have anything else?
Not really. I'm just surprised neither of us found the elements. I wonder where they're at.
I was wondering. I'm guessing one of you may look later. Feel free, throw it in the spoiler channel. Let us know.
I think it's either going to be Giant of Babel or the first boss on the hook route, because I think we've done everything else.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think it could also be the tower key, right?
Super cannon.
Yeah.
The cannon ring, yeah.
Cannon. So.
But yeah, definitely hiding somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I obviously we've said it before. We'll say it again. We're looking forward to seeing round 3 from the 2 of you. If it's anything like this, it's going to be a great race. So.
Yeah,
completely agree.
Sure.
Yeah. So GG's once again, and we'll see you in the next couple days.
Yeah, and thanks again for the restream and commentary. I appreciate it. I'll have to watch it back, see what differences there were, and just come back tomorrow with more strategies.
There you go. So
yeah,
all right,
sounds
Locke,
good.
Take care.
Tomorrow.
Have a good evening.
Yeah. Take care to you two as well, and all of chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Bye now.
Solaris, that was fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was.
I'm so glad it wasn't a tie. My heart should have taken another one.
But we could have had. Same.
No, I don't need to see an admin just spontaneously combust. Okay, that's.
I'm sure they're definitely grateful that this was not a tie for sure.
Yeah, we'll have them on audio next time and just hear a little yay afterwards. So.
Yes. Scala somewhere is doing a little dance.
It's like I'm safe for another
Or
day
really more like,
because
thank God. Yeah.
for those that don't know, we had 2 races going at the exact same time. So yeah, they're off the hook for the rest of the day. Lucky them. And so are we, as a matter of fact. We're done for the evening. You're all not, because we have somewhere we're going to send you all. But this definitely concludes my time with Solaris. Sad face.
Yep, we'll be sending you on over to Randomania, who I believe is doing some sort of event, a Legend of Zelda. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, it's a Legend of Zelda event. Probably a randomizer would be my guess. I do want to remind for tomorrow, there are 2 matches. Again, with the opening round, there won't be as many matches this week. Next week and the weeks after, for sure, there will be so many. But for tomorrow, we're going to have Poydrak versus Y2 Sky and the conclusion of Locke versus McBain, both at 7 p.m. Eastern. So you definitely don't want to miss that.
24-hour turnaround. I love it.
Yeah, but for the meanwhile, this has been a fun time, Martin. And
Alchemy and Smape D, and make sure, please go follow all of them.
Absolutely.
They're all wonderful.
We love
Don't worry about me. It's the other 3 you want to follow.
We love our restream members.
So great life choice.
I had a great time.
Yeah, I had an amazing time. I would do this again anytime.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So all right, let's go say hi, Randomania. Obviously, we know where you live, so don't spoil the race. Some people, work and don't have time to watch it live, so help them out, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.